Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is Sunday afternoon here. Wanted to do an update video on previously Hurricane Hilary. The National Hurricane Center has downgraded Hilary to a tropical storm now, just off the western coast of Baja Mexico, as you can see here with the infrared satellite. I want to jump right into it and talk about the threats. We're looking at much more of obviously a weakened system, still a pretty significant flash flooding threat, and even actually a more materializing, a little bit more significant tornado threat for parts of southeastern California and then maybe western Arizona up into Nevada as well. So, I do want to look at that here and talk about what that's going to look like this afternoon. So, this is the infrared satellite, as you can see here. We obviously still have the spin of Hilary right here. We've got the outer bands kind of out here, kind of moving in that counterclockwise direction. Obviously, not a very great, presentation that Hilary has given us. Definitely struggling with not only these colder waters here in the Pacific up this far north, but then also just some drier air off to kind of the west here and then even the southwest. That's really kind of eaten away at the center of Hilary. Now, still a lot of that moisture that's moving northward here across parts of northern Mexico into Arizona and southeastern California as well. That's going to lead to our significant flash flooding threat. But again, definitely winds are starting to lessen a significant degree, and we're not really going to be worrying about storm surge or anything like that that you typically would worry about with a landfalling tropical system. So, again, looking at some of the main threats here, this is the latest cone of uncertainty for Tropical Storm Hilary. Again, just kind of right now making landfall in Baja Mexico. Here over the afternoon hours by this evening will be likely the center will be around that Southern California, San Diego area. We still have those tropical storm warnings for Southern California here. And the system again will continue to move generally off to the north here over the coming hours for much of our Sunday, and bringing with that some gusty winds, a lot of significant rainfall in certain areas, especially on the kind of the eastern sides of the mountains. So that's going to be the significant thing that we're watching. Again, based on the 11 a.m. Pacific advisory, maximum sustained winds are down to 65 miles per hour. So under that category 1 hurricane, but still tropical storm force here and moving north northwest at 25 miles an hour. So, again, looking at the main threats, we're still talking about the significant rainfall. So, this looks at what the projected rainfall is over the next 1 to 2 days, and we can see some totals here, especially around those higher elevations, that are likely going to be 8 to maybe even 12, 15 inches of rain here off to the east and northeast of Los Angeles and San Diego here, and certainly then moving north into even parts of Nevada here over the coming hours and then into Monday as well. So significant rainfall is going to be one of the main threats here. That's going to lead to potential for significant flash flooding. As we can see here, we've got that high risk across that same area that we've been talking about, kind of just east of the mountains here of the populated areas of Los Angeles and San Diego, up north and then even into parts of kind of south and southwestern Nevada over these coming hours. So that's going to be a significant threat. If you live in a low-lying area, definitely want to take precautions now, potentially even get out of there or at least be very, very vigilant here over the coming hours as those rainfall rates really start to pick up. And then with the flash flooding threat, we're actually going to have a rather significant, possibly, again, not major outbreak with tornadoes, but the Storm Prediction Center does have even a 5% tornado risk here across southeastern California, very southern Nevada, and then kind of the western fringes of Arizona, and then that 2% that includes Las Vegas, even parts of southwestern Utah, much of California and western Arizona as well. So the environment is conducive. We have a lot of low level shear in the atmosphere, those outer bands of Hilary as they kind of continue to move counterclockwise. Even though Hilary is weakening, those bands still have a lot of wind shear, plentiful moisture, and there would be enough to get some low top supercells, and those cells, if there's any strong convection, could certainly produce maybe a brief, short lived tornado. But again, if it hits just in the right spot, could certainly be damaging and could be certainly dangerous as well. So that's something that we're going to be watching. If we look at one of the models, this is the HRRR model, looking at 3 p.m. Pacific, so 5 o'clock Central Time. And what we can see is kind of the center of Hilary would be off around here, probably somewhere in maybe this direction down here. And then we've kind of got these bands that are going to be kind of moving up here like this all the way out into Arizona as well. And so kind of that counterclockwise banding that you get with with the typical any type of a landfalling cyclone. And then each of these individual storms, if any of these can be kind of discrete and maybe get a little bit of sunshine that breaks out kind of out ahead, this environment right here would be conducive to tornadoes. If we take just an example of a sounding here, and we look at the environment right here, kind of in southeastern California, we have 73-degree temperatures, 70-degree dew points, so very saturated profile here. We do have a little bit of low-level instability, that area between the red line and the dashed white line here. We do have kind of a strong, almost due easterly wind at the surface here, moving to kind of southeasterly just above the surface, but certainly pretty strong. And then kind of almost a south wind up here in these higher elevations. So we do have that turning wind with height, that wind shear that you look for. And when we look at the hodograph up here, we have some pretty good turning in these lowest 2 kilometers of the atmosphere. And so these storms are going to be generally moving kind of off to the north, maybe a little bit even kind of northeast with direction. But we do have that long kind of looping hodograph here, which would support a tornado threat in this environment. So certainly we could see the potential for some tornado warnings this afternoon. This is the mesoanalysis page here on the Storm Prediction Center. We can see some of the ongoing rain right now. These red lines, that's where the instability and kind of those warmer temperatures, maybe some more sunshine is taking place. And then these blue lines, that's where you get a little bit of surface vorticity. So you get some of that wind shear, winds kind of coming together, and that can create enough lift for potential firing of those thunderstorms. So as we move a little bit further in time here, and we move to, let's say, even 4 hours from now, right around that 3 o'clock Pacific time, you can see that we have that instability that's built in across southeastern California. And also we have kind of those individual discrete storms that are popping up all along here. So there is going to be the potential that we could get some of those, isolated supercells that develop in those outer bands, and that would produce a tornado threat, certainly. So again, Hilary, not the most photogenic storm anymore. Certainly in a significant weakening trend, and that will continue as Hilary moves off to the north here. But certainly the threat for Southern California and the southwestern U.S. Is really just beginning with that heavy rainfall and even that isolated tornado threat here as we move through the rest of our Sunday. So again, hope this update was helpful. This might be the last update here for Hilary, as certainly she's kind of on her way out, but we do have the Atlantic that's gotten really, really active over the last 48 hours. So we'll have to be watching several of those areas as they continue to develop, as well as that one area that may impact the southern Texas Gulf Coast here over the next 48 to 72 hours. So I hope everybody has a good Sunday, and hope this update was helpful, and I'll see you back here for the next one.